What's up guys, today I'm working on my Pro RMK. I purchased a MTNTK Performance tunnel cut kit. I'm looking to chop about 9 inches off my tunnel, trying to just get less drag in the snow. So in the MTNTK tunnel cut kit, you'll get a new rear tunnel cap kit, a couple 90-degree inserts for your cooling system. You also get all the rivets and hose clamps included. This rubber tube connects the two connectors on the rear, and you seal it up using JB Weld black silicone and some epoxy. And the most important thing in the kit is the instructions. Make sure you read your instructions if you're going to install this kit yourself, because all the important details will be listed in there. So the first step to installing this kit, I have to get the gas tank and seat off and drain all the coolant out of the system. After that, I'll need to take off my taillight and the taillight wiring. Once the taillight wiring protector is off, I'm going to mark a straight line across. I'll probably do a shorter test cut first just to see how it goes. And I don't know if I have the correct blade picked up or not with the saw. We'll see how the blade cuts. And then I'll be going for a final cut. So I have this sled up on the stand. The gas tank and seat is off. I put it up on the stand to get the front of the sled higher, and I drilled a hole in the rear part of the cooling system to let the coolant drain out into a bucket. I figured it would be the easiest way to drain the coolant. Every other way seemed to make a large mess, and I won't be using the rear section of the tunnel anyway, so I just drilled a hole in the rear and drained it out. This is the line I'll eventually be doing the final cut on. It's about 9 inches back. I'm going to do another test cut right here just to see how the saw blade does cutting the aluminum. So I just did a few practice cuts. Going to go for the final cut. We'll see how it goes. Cutting about 9 inches off.
Straight cut. No going back now.
No. So I have the tunnel chopped off. I also rounded the corners and used a file to take the edge down to a smooth finish. Next step, I have to flush the coolant system to try to get all the metal flakes out of the cooling lanes. And then I'll be cleaning up the surfaces and getting them ready to epoxy in the inserts for the cooling crossover. After getting the tunnel all cleaned up, I had to get these 90-degree inserts pressed into the tunnel. I then measured a 1/4 inch back and drilled a hole to put this rivet in. The rivet goes up through the bottom. Once I finally put these 90-degree fittings into the tunnel, I'll have to mix up some epoxy, and you put a layer of epoxy around the entire fitting and put it into the tunnel. So I have the 90-degree fitting covered in epoxy, and the inside of the tunnel is covered in epoxy as well. We're going to just try to press it in. For rivet, I guess.
Yep.
Is your order one? You do. I want the blue one. So I went ahead and drilled all the holes for all the rivets I had to install. I had to drill a few holes to mount the bumper in the new location because everything in the rear is now moved forward. I had to install all the rivets in this rear guard. This guard helps protect the hoses and the two 90-degree coolant adapters. I got the taillight installed. I moved it back further than the instructions in the kit told me to, just because I feel it was a better look. And I have the taillight connected, and the wire has been ran up and under the protector. The next step is basically waiting for the epoxy and silicone to just dry all night. The RTV silicone has a 24-hour dry time, and I'm not really sure what the epoxy time was, but we're going to let that set for 24 hours as well before I run any coolant through it. Then I'll have to bleed the coolant system and get the gas tank and seat back on. So my sled has been sitting in the shed all night. I left the mixed up epoxy here on the tunnel just to see how it would set overnight. It seems very hard. Silicone also seems, I didn't squeeze any out, but the silicone also seems to be pretty set up there on the tip of the tube. So I'm assuming the epoxy and silicone have cured well on the tunnel overnight. I now have to get the gas tank reinstalled. I actually stripped out some of my tunnel, taking off the gas tank because it hasn't been off in a long time, and I'm guessing the bolts were seized, so they spun in the tunnel. Now I'll be working on getting the gas tank reinstalled and putting the rest of the plastics back on. I didn't have the tool to take off one of the fuel lines from the top of the gas pickup, so I actually had to remove the fuel filter directly from the side of the engine. I'll need to reconnect this fuel line, put the belt card back on, reinstall the oil bottle, get the belt situated. I may be doing some changes with my clutching. The last thing I have to do to finish up this tunnel cut kit is I have to refill my sled with coolant. That also requires me getting the sled up on the stand at a 45-degree angle to get this bleeder hole as high as possible and bleeding the coolant. So we'll have to loosen that bolt and fill the coolant as much as we can and start the sled and wait until all the air bleeds out. So I have the MTNTK tunnel cut kit complete. Wanted to take this sled out for a ride on the trail just to test how the temperatures were going to be with part of the cooling system cut out, because I did remove a good chunk of the cooling system, and I assume a lot of the snow comes from the center of the track up into where the cross beam used to be. Now this is a rubber hose which does not transmit temperature as well as the metal. So the MTNTK tunnel cut kit turned out great. You just follow the instructions and it should work out well for you as well. Overall, very impressed with the fitment of the kit. It basically looks like an OEM tunnel except way stubbier. I will eventually be getting the Road Concept bumper, which reinforces the bumper up to around here, and it allows you to trim your tunnel even more to get a little bit more tapered look, remove some more drag from the rear of your tunnel. Spring is coming very quick here in Newfoundland, so you'll probably see some bike videos soon, but we have one more trip planned on the west coast of Newfoundland for this weekend, and we should get some cool videos from there. But that's it for now, guys. If you liked our video, make sure you give it a like, comment down below if you have any ideas for us, and be sure to subscribe so you get to stay updated on all our new videos. We hope you guys stick around to watch and keep an eye out for our next video coming next week. Thanks for watching.